Has redemption been earned? Let's find out today, folks. The YT Decoy SN MX is in for a re-review with a new spec, and we're excited to report back. Well, folks, so you might remember our SL e-bike shootout that we had last fall. We had a YT Decoy SN in the shootout, and our crew had some mixed but not all that amazing feelings about the bike. We thought it was a solid all-around bike, but there wasn't really any characteristics of the bike that stood out. And in that shootout, we actually referred over to Robert, our tester in Scotland, who is an absolute shredder, that he had spent quite a bit of time on the Decoy SN and absolutely loved it and said it was one of his favorite bikes of the year. So based on his feedback and then YT hearing what our crew had to say about the bike, which was a more entry-level, lower-end spec, and was a bike that I guess we found out after the fact had come off of a bit of a demo tour, so it had a bit of mileage on it, so maybe the suspension wasn't all that fresh when we got it. We decided to let YT send us a new bike to test out and see if it could earn some redemption. So after that review came out, we spoke with the folks at YT, about our experiences and feelings on the bike, spent a little more time talking with Rob, and we decided that it would not only be fun, and we love fun, we love learning, and we decided it might be a great experience for us to get a new bike that's never been ridden before and of a higher end spec. So YT agreed to lend us another bike for the short term and do a review on the bike. And I say short term, I think we've had this thing now for probably about 6 months, but it has, to put it short, and spoiler alert, completely changed my mind. And if this bike had been at the shootout, we might have had some different results. But all that to say, this thing rips, and no money is exchanged, no pressure from YT. They said just take it and see if it changes your mind. It did. We got Robert here, and we're gonna talk about just why we like this bike so much better, and also have him share some of his impressions on the Decoy SN. All right, so Robert, first things first, I haven't actually asked you this question, I don't think. After the shootout came out, I know before the shootout, we're asking you, we're like, hey man, you said you really liked this bike. We're kind of having some mixed feelings about it. And you kind of were like, I don't quite get how that's possible. Like, I loved that thing. So when you saw the review come out, what were your thoughts? I mean, because it was pretty unanimous amongst most of the crew, right? So what were your initial thoughts based on your feedback on the bike?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I was aware that you didn't have the same spec level that I had. I had the full bells and whistles, Fox factory suspension on it and everything. So I was maybe expecting that yours wouldn't perform quite as well. But yeah, certainly the feedback that you were giving compared to how stoked I was on that top level spec at the launch when I tested it for the first time, definitely I was very surprised to hear that you hadn't quite gelled with it as much, and I guess a little bit disappointed too, because I'd given it my backing prior to the group test that it would probably do pretty well, and then it didn't quite do as well as I'd maybe expected.
Okay. And then I think I messaged you after the first ride I had on this thing 6 months ago, maybe now. And I don't remember exactly what it was, but
Yeah,
it
I
was,
think you basically said, "Oh yeah, Rob, you were right."
I think that might have been it. Yeah, I finished the first day of riding, which I only really had time to get like just a couple of quick laps in, but the bike was so good that I think I might have gotten in trouble and got home a little too late, because I was just like, I gotta go for just one more, just one more, and I was like, dang, this thing absolutely rips. And it was really cool. And it's interesting, like you said, you had the top spec Fox bike. We have a RockShox spec bike. The one we had at the shootout was also RockShox spec, but just a lower spec. And again, I think it came off of a little bit of a tour on the demo fleet, so maybe not so fresh of suspension either. Yeah, and kind of just something I want to get off the chest, just because it seems like occasionally there are, just folks out there who maybe feel like we have motives or reasons to be less than honest or genuine in our reviews. YT sent us the bike with no expectations. They just said, we would just like you to get another chance and try. And they did not say, if you don't change your mind and give you a good review, we will never send you a bike again, right? Like that was not part of the deal. And to be honest, if all we did was ever give bikes positive reviews, then our weight and value in reviewing products wouldn't hold that much weight and water with the consumers, right? Like, and so we did want to take the time and do this test because one, Robert said the bike was so rad, and we had hopes that it was going to perform better than it did in the shootout. So I'm really excited that we did it, and I am impressed.
What's the message for the people though? You know, like, I think there's two things here for me.
Okay.
Number one,
Service your suspension.
service your suspension, and that might be all it was, but also there's no getting away from the fact that the ultimate level suspension gives you the tunability, also has slightly higher performance features here and there, and I think the pair of those add up also to, yeah, every ultimate level suspension from RockShox we get on does feel that little bit better than the Select Plus stuff, or Select, I can't remember what.
Yeah, and that being said, RockShox stuff, we have been very impressed with some of their entry-level dampers, right? I mean, we did that Polygon, the Colossus Enduro bike, which had like entry-level shock and Zeb, and that thing ripped on these same trails. So I'm leaning towards the fact that potentially service, they could have just been a little overdue, and maybe it just wasn't the right time in that bike's lifespan. This thing feels a lot livelier, a lot more sprightly. It feels pounds lighter, right? I don't know, I can't remember off the top of my head the weight difference on that old bike, but the liveliness of the suspension, I'm sure the wheel weight has a lot to do with it, but what were some of the things that you liked most about this bike?
So I said it in my first ride review, this is like the e-bike that I can ride the most like a regular bike, especially on the descents, especially when either slightly more playful bike parky stuff, I just feel like you can throw this Decoy SN MX around like really nicely. It just feels really balanced, and then when you do open up the taps on the rougher stuff, it just holds its line well and charges and lets you push hard. Climbing wise, I don't think it's necessarily anything special. The Fazua drive unit in the mid-power space I think is solid in terms of its performance. Its reliability, maybe not so fantastic from what we've been hearing from a lot of people. I think we've only had one issue, have we, so far?
Not
Not with this bike.
With this bike, we've had 0 issues. With the one in the shootout, we did have issues, which is kind of another reason that YT wanted to send us another decoy. I think it wasn't just the suspension overall, but it was also the drive unit stuff. And we've not had any problems with this Fazua unit. And I think, making, again, no excuses for Fazua. We aren't shareholders and they don't pay us. But I would say that we've probably tested 12 to 14 Fazua drive units, and I think we have had 3 issues. 2 were pretty notable. One was just a very minor kind of single time issue that ended up just being a connection issue with a cable. So we've only really had 2 issues, but 3 technically out of 12. So, not a massive amount of drive unit problems, but again, that's more than we've had with others, right?
At the end of the day, it's 1 out of 4 drive units have had some form of issue, and
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess it's only going to get better as they continue to develop their product, but still, it's not fantastic.
Sure. All right, so other thoughts for you, closing out on the bike. Where does this thing stand out? Who's the ideal consumer?
People who, I think it's a bike that rewards riding fairly hard. I don't think you necessarily have to ride it hard, but I think it really has your back when you do start to push it. So people who like to get quick laps in on bike park trails, or just rough and rowdy stuff, just want that little bit of assistance to get them up the hill. I mean, fairly quickly with the Fazua system, it's good. And yeah, just want to rip on the way down.
What would you, just guessing, what would you prefer as the bike to have in your quiver? The MX or the 29?
Yeah, I would rather have the MX for the style of riding that I like to do, which is typically rough and rowdy enduro trails or bike park freeride stuff. But as you'll see in that 29 video, I'm quite a fan of that bike too. That's like the mile munching sort of aggressive trail bike, and that thing's pretty sweet as well.
Okay. I don't know for sure which route I would go because I've not ridden it yet. And I will say the type of riding I like to do, which you know get to come out and experience here, there's merits in both. I would maybe lean towards the 29, but gosh, when you get out here on the steep stuff and some of these snappy, unflattering corners, as you called them, having that smaller rear wheel is kind of nice to snap this thing around. So I guess time will have to tell when we get the 29 head to head, and it could be a fun little video actually.
Talking about the spec of this one,
Yep.
this is a mid-price spec. Yeah, I think this is almost the spec that I would choose to have if it was given to me, maybe even above the full factory level. I don't know, just I like the RockShox suspension, the feel of that, and then almost going down the tier, like the cheap SRAM T-type derailleur, just having...
Cheap.
Okay, cheaper. SRAM T-type derailleur, the cheapest in the wireless electronic range. It's nice to have that peace of mind that it's going to be less expensive to replace when you inevitably pilot into a rock.
Okay. All right. TRP brakes, how are those holding up and working for you?
Fantastic.
Yeah. All right. Very good. Well, folks, there you have it. The re-review of the YT Decoy SN MX. MXSN? I don't know, too many letters. Either way, we are glad that we gave this thing a second chance. It was a lot of fun, and like I said, we always love being proved wrong. We love learning and experimenting for the sake of having fun and education on the trail. So thanks to all you guys for watching. If you have any questions about this bike or other bikes in this category that you'd like to see us test or compare it to, let us know. We'd be happy to answer those questions down below. Thanks again, and we'll see you out on the trails.
Also, Drew, do you not want to tell them about our members area?
Oh, the members area, of course. How could I forget, Robert? If you guys would like a chance to test and review products for theloamwolf.com, as well as be entered into, I would say, giveaways almost every week and exclusive discount codes to bike industry brands, go check our members platform. We'll link it down below. Of course, it helps support us and other photographers, videographers, and racers that are out there that we're trying to help and support, as well as giving us the chance to come out and make fun videos and reviews like this. So thank you guys for the support. Good luck, and we'll see you out there.